Part 1. They say life's cruelest joke is hitting you with a tragedy and a betrayal at the same damn time. I used to think those things came one at a time, grief first, then pain, or vice versa. But no. Sometimes, they hold hands and walk right through your front door like they own the place. That was my life when it all started falling apart. And the worst part? I didn't see it coming. Not because I was blind, but because I was too damn loyal to believe I could be betrayed. Especially by her. Especially when our son was fighting for his life. Mary and I were the couple people envied. At least, that's what I used to think. Met her in college. She was laughter in a crowded room, confidence wrapped in a killer smile. We dated for 2 years, got married in year 3, and by year 5 we had our boy, Lucas. He was our miracle baby. Our world revolved around that kid. Late-night feedings, messy diapers, soccer practices, we did it all together. I thought we were building something solid. You know, a real partnership. Soulmates. That's what she used to call us. Soulmates. Then came the cancer. Lucas was 9 when the doctors told us it was leukemia. I still remember that moment. The way the walls in that sterile hospital room felt like they were closing in on me. My ears were ringing so loud I barely heard the doctors say, "We caught it early." Mary squeezed my hand like she was the strong one, like she was the rock. And I believed her. God help me. I believed she was the rock I could lean on. I didn't know she'd already started crumbling on the inside. Or worse, looking for another place to plant her flag. From that day on, my life became the hospital. I worked from my laptop in waiting rooms. I learned how to read white blood cell counts and how to sleep in vinyl chairs. I became fluent in the language of oncology. And I was there. Every second. Every chemo session. Every blood transfusion. I was there. And Mary? She was present at first. She brought snacks, talked to nurses, took the late shifts. But slowly, she started finding excuses. I have work. I have errands. I need a break. Hell, I wanted her to have a break. I didn't want her burning out. I told her, go home, get some rest. I thought I was being a good husband, supportive. Meanwhile, she was out there not resting, not crying in the bathtub, not talking to her therapist like she said. Nah, she was somewhere else, with someone else. But I didn't know that yet. The first red flag came on a Tuesday. I remember because it was the day Lucas asked me, "Where's Mommy? She hasn't been here the last 2 times." I brushed it off. Told him she was running errands. He nodded like a brave little soldier and smiled. "Tell her I miss her," he said. Goddamn. I called her that night. No answer. Texted, "You okay?" No reply for 2 hours. Then finally, a message, "Sorry, I fell asleep. Long day." I didn't question it. Why would I? I was busy clinging to hope. Hope that the next test would be better. That Lucas would pull through. That we'd survive this as a family. I didn't know the damn family was already broken. The second flag? It was the perfume. The kind she never wore at home. Something new. Expensive. Sweet but musky. Something you wear to impress someone who isn't your husband. I asked her, casually, "You wearing something new?" She smiled, didn't even flinch. "Yeah, a sample I got at the mall." Sounded logical. I let it go. I was a damn fool. Then came the night I couldn't ignore anymore. Lucas had a bad fever. His white count was too low and he spiked to 103. I called her at work. Straight to voicemail. I left 5 messages. 5. By the time she showed up, it was midnight. Hair done. Makeup flawless. No bags under her eyes. No signs of stress. Not a damn crease in her blouse. She looked like she just stepped out of a date, not a 12-hour shift at the office. I looked at her and said, "Where were you?" She blinked like it was the most bizarre question in the world. "Work." At midnight. There was a deadline. We stayed late. It happens. Who's we? She hesitated. Just for a second. But long enough for me to notice. "The team," she said. "You don't know them." Funny. I used to know all her coworkers. That night, I sat by Lucas's bedside, watching his little chest rise and fall, holding his hand. And all I could think was, she wasn't here. When he needed her the most, she wasn't here. I didn't sleep. Not a minute. That was the night I knew. I didn't have proof yet, but every gut instinct in me, every ounce of intuition a man carries when something's wrong with his woman, it screamed at me. She's cheating. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I didn't throw anything. I just made a decision. If she was lying to me, I was going to find out. But not for revenge. Not yet. I needed to know the truth. Because once you know the truth, you don't owe anyone anything. Especially not a woman who lies while your son fights for his life. Part 2. It started with her phone. Funny how the little rectangle we carry around, glued to our hands like a third limb, holds the keys to our entire lives. And, in her case, our secrets. I never believed in snooping. Never thought I'd be the guy creeping around my own house like a burglar. But when your gut screams at you every time she walks out the door, you stop caring about principles. The first time I tried to check it, it was locked. Not with the usual 4-digit code she'd had since Lucas was in diapers. Nah, this was new. A 6-digit fortress. I asked her about it casually, feigning ignorance. Hey, did you change your passcode? I tried to check the grocery list and couldn't get in. Oh, yeah, she said, not even looking up from her coffee. Work requires a stronger security lock now. Policy stuff. Right, I said. Makes sense. It didn't. She worked in HR. Unless her new title was Secret Agent of the Payroll Division, she had no business needing CA-level security. So I adapted. I watched. Took mental notes. Her fingers as she unlocked the phone. The rhythm of her thumb. The order of taps. It took 3 days, 2 awkward angles, and 1 poorly timed call while she was in the shower, but I got it. 101723. Our wedding anniversary. I stared at the unlocked screen like it was a ticking bomb. For a second, I almost backed out. Like maybe I was the problem. Maybe I was paranoid. But then I remembered her flawless makeup when our son was hooked up to tubes. I tapped into her messages. Nothing. No names I didn't recognize. No suspicious texts. No, I miss you already. Or last night was amazing. Just work stuff. Family chat. The usual. But something felt scrubbed. So I checked her deleted messages. That's where I found them. They weren't from Loverboy69 or any nonsense like that. No, the texts were from Amanda Work. Clever. If I hadn't looked twice, I'd think it was some overworked project manager. But then I saw the messages. Same time Thursday. Can't wait to taste you again. Last night was exactly what I needed. There were more, all in the same thread, all recently deleted. I felt my pulse in my throat. That special kind of betrayal that crawls under your skin and settles in your bones. I copied every single message. Took screenshots. Forwarded them to a secret email I set up. I wasn't going to confront her empty-handed. Not again. The next clue came in the form of a receipt. She tossed her purse on the counter like always. I wasn't even looking for anything when it spilled open and out fell a crumpled parking stub. Downtown. Thursday night. 10:18 p.m. She told me she was working late that night. I didn't say anything. Just pocketed it and added it to my growing file. That weekend, I suggested we go out for a date night. It's been a while, I said. Lucas is stable. Let's do something normal. She hesitated. She always loved date nights. Suddenly, she was exhausted. Not in the mood. Can we just watch something at home? Yeah, sure. Let's Netflix our marriage back together. So I waited until she went to bed, said I had work emails to finish. Instead, I checked our shared calendar. She used it religiously, color-coded and all. In the middle of appointments and meal preps, I found a block titled Wellness Workshop. Thursday, downtown. I clicked the link she'd saved under it. It redirected to a dead URL. Cute. Next step? Her car. She's not sloppy, but no one's perfect. Hidden under the passenger seat was a napkin, lipstick stained and folded in half. Written inside, in tiny, scratchy handwriting, were the words, "I wish you were mine." No name. Just that. No date. But the lipstick was the shade she'd told me she stopped using months ago. She hadn't stopped using it. She just stopped wearing it around me. The final straw, though, was Lucas. Again. He asked me, real soft, like he didn't want to make me mad. Why does mommy smile at her phone and then hide it when I come in? That was it. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I didn't punch a wall or scream into a pillow. I sat next to my son, rubbed his bald little head, and said, "Sometimes grown-ups do things that don't make sense. But it's not your fault. Ever." He nodded, too wise for his years. That night, I waited until she was asleep. Quiet as death, I went to the kitchen and opened the drawer where we kept old phones. Grabbed one, wiped it, set it up. I cloned hers. Everything. Messages. Calls. GPS. By the time the sun came up, I had a front row seat to her other life. And it was all right there. Texts. Plans. Reservations. Pictures that made my stomach turn. Him kissing her cheek. Her in the dress I bought for our anniversary. She called him Ash. Ash. I didn't recognize the name. Not a coworker. Not a friend. Just Ash. No last name. No details. But he existed. He was real. And he was in my bed. My house. My life. Mary was cheating. While our son battled cancer, she was out finding herself in some stranger's sheets. The betrayal didn't just sting, it hollowed me out. And still, I didn't confront her. Not yet. You see, I wasn't looking for a confession anymore. I was building a case. Let me know when you're ready for part 3. Shatters everything. It's where the gloves come off. Part 3. There's a moment in every man's life when he stops being afraid of the truth and starts craving it, no matter how bad it hurts. I'd already seen enough to know Mary wasn't just distant or stressed. She wasn't leaning on a friend or confiding in some emotional support circle. She was screwing around behind my back while I sat in hospital rooms praying our son would live to see his next birthday. But now, I needed proof that couldn't be twisted. Something cold, final, undeniable. So I followed her. I told her I was working late one Thursday. She said she had book club. Cute. The same night, she'd been texting Ash about wearing that black thing he liked. I planted a tracker in her car. Installed one under the dash myself. Same ones we use at my job for fleet tracking. Took less than 10 minutes and ran silent. She had no idea. That night, I sat in my car a block away from her book club. It was a boutique hotel. Not even trying to be subtle. She pulled in at 7:41 p.m. I watched from a distance, engine off, lights out, heart pounding like a war drum. I had no idea what I was expecting to feel. Maybe anger, maybe the urge to charge in and wreck the place. But all I felt was cold. She got out of the car, in that same black dress I bought her for our 10-year anniversary. The one she said made her feel classy. Funny, watching her now, it looked less like classy and more like clearance rack lingerie. At 7:46, he arrived. Tall, fit, maybe mid-30s. Drove a silver BMW. Wore that smugness you only get when you know you're sleeping with someone else's wife. I wanted to snap a photo but couldn't move. I just sat there, gripping the wheel, watching them embrace like two high school lovers sneaking around after curfew. They kissed. Hands roamed. No rush. No shame. She laughed, that laugh. The same one she used to save for when I whispered something stupid to her in bed. Then they disappeared inside together. I waited. I don't know why. Maybe part of me still thought she'd come back out. Change her mind. Realize what the hell she was doing. She didn't. They stayed inside for almost 2 hours. I didn't move until I saw them come back out at 9:55. Her hair was a mess. His shirt was half untucked. She looked satisfied. He kissed her again, and they split. Different directions. Like criminals. I followed her home. She didn't notice. Never looked back once. I was a ghost in my own marriage. That night, while she showered, I downloaded the hotel's website. Called their reservation line pretending to be her assistant. Hi. I need to confirm a stay for Mary Holloway last Thursday under corporate billing. The woman was happy to help. Yes, we had a Mary Holloway check-in under the name Ash Bennett. Room 412. 2 hours. On file as a business expense. Business, huh? That's when the dam inside me broke. All the lies. All the nights I sat alone while she worked late or needed space. All the times I held our dying son's hand and wished she was there. It all came flooding back. Every excuse she ever gave me now had a body count. And I was done bleeding. I didn't confront her. Not yet. No, I went to work. I built a dossier. Photos. Call logs. Messages. Screenshots. GPS routes. Hotel records. Every lie she ever told now had a receipt with a timestamp. I even reached out to a PI, guy named Weller, retired military, no BS. I gave him 3 days. He came back with a file that would put a mob boss in therapy. Turns out Ash wasn't some random stranger. He worked at a competing firm. Sales director. Slept with clients. Got their business. Then discarded them. Mary wasn't his first married woman. She was number 7. And you know what the cherry on top was? They were planning to see where things go if Lucas didn't make it. Yeah, she was hedging her bets with my son's life. Like if he died, she'd be free. If he lived, well, maybe she'd try to rebuild. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't breathe. So I changed. I stopped sleeping in the same bed. I moved to the guest room, claiming back pain. She didn't question it. Hell, she seemed relieved. I started stashing cash, moving assets, prepping legal strategies. I bought a new phone under a fake name, loaded it with everything. Gave a copy to my lawyer, just in case. Then I did something else. I called Lucas's oncologist and scheduled an emergency family consult. Told Mary we needed to talk with the doctor together. She agreed, no questions asked. Probably thought it was serious, and it was, just not in the way she expected. I coordinated with the doc to delay the meeting by 20 minutes. Just long enough for me to accidentally leave my phone in the waiting room, unlocked, with the message thread wide open. When she saw it, her own words, her own pictures, her own betrayal laid bare in my hand. I wanted to see the color drain from her face in real time. I wanted her to know I knew. I wasn't sure how she'd react. Panic? Tears? Anger? But I was ready for all of it. Because I wasn't going to beg. I wasn't going to scream or cry or ask, why? No. I was going to burn the whole goddamn house of lies she built and walk away with the matches in my hand. Part 4. Revenge isn't rage. Not the kind I dealt in. Rage is messy. It burns hot, explodes, and leaves you with ash in your mouth and cuffs on your wrists. No, what I wanted was cold. Surgical. I didn't want to destroy her in the heat of the moment. I wanted her to watch it happen, piece by piece. The morning after the oncology appointment, the one where she realized I'd seen everything, I made us coffee. Business as usual. She sat there like a condemned prisoner at her last breakfast, hands trembling around the mug. Didn't say a word. Not sorry. Not, let me explain. Just silence. That was good. Meant she understood. I wasn't looking for an apology. I was executing a sentence. Phase 1. Legal lockdown. I'd already retained the best damn divorce lawyer in the city. Preston Mitchell, mean as a pit bull and twice as hungry. I handed him everything. The dossier. The photos. The hotel logs. Even a screen recording of her messaging Ash the night Lucas was hospitalized. Preston didn't flinch. Just nodded and said, we'll bury her. We started by freezing our joint accounts. Not enough to alert her, just enough to reroute access. I moved my paychecks to a new private account, retitled my vehicle, and shifted every shared subscription, service, and billing to a name she couldn't touch. Then I started pulling records. She'd used my health insurance to help cover some of her rendezvous, booked under mental health recovery. Cute. I flagged it. Let the HR department know to expect a review of all prior reimbursements. Let them find out what kind of therapy she was getting in a king-sized bed at the Marriott. I also pulled our home's deed, verified the mortgage was 70% in my name. Our prenup had a fidelity clause, which she had clearly detonated. Preston prepped the documentation to trigger the clause. Meaning? She'd walk away with what she brought into the marriage, which was nothing. No house. No car. No shared assets. Just whatever she could stuff in a suitcase. Phase 2. Public exposure. I wasn't interested in airing dirty laundry. I didn't care about gossip. But there were people who needed to know. People who deserved to see the truth. First, her parents. I invited them over one evening under the pretense of updating them on Lucas's treatment. Mary protested, mumbled something about them being tired, it being short notice. I told her if she didn't invite them, I would. They came. I had the folder ready, printed messages, photos, the receipt from the hotel. I didn't say a word during the first 10 minutes. Let her squirm. Then I calmly slid the folder across the table to her father and leaned back. He read it, didn't blink, then handed it to her mother. The silence was heavy, and when her mother looked up, eyes filled with quiet fury, Mary cracked. Tears. Rambling. It was a mistake. I was overwhelmed. I didn't mean for it to happen this way. The usual. Her dad looked at me and said, whatever you decide, son, we support it. I nodded. I just detonated the first bridge. Next up was Lucas's school. Now, I wasn't trying to drag our son into this. Never. But I did want to ensure no version of this story got twisted. I scheduled a meeting with the principal to explain that Mary and I were separating, and that any pickup, medical decisions, or school-related matters needed to be cleared through me. I also handed them temporary guardianship paperwork and medical POA docs. Preemptive strikes. I wasn't going to be caught flat-footed. Phase 3. Ash. The man had a LinkedIn page full of buzzwords and BS, growth strategist, team culture cultivator, values-driven. He even had a blog about workplace ethics. Oh, the irony. So I crafted an email. Anonymous. Discreet. With screenshots. I BCC'd it to his employer's HR department, his wife. Yes, the bastard was married too, and 3 of his top clients based on his portfolio. Then I waited. Took less than 36 hours. His wife, Naomi, called me. Not to scream or blame me, but to thank me. Said she'd suspected for months but never had proof. We talked for 15 minutes. Two betrayed strangers. I gave her the rest of what I had. She said, I've got kids. I've got teeth. He's about to learn what both feel like. Good. His HR department called a week later, wanted confirmation that the photos were real. I simply said, he used company resources to coordinate an affair with another firm's spouse. You do what you think is right. That was the end of Ash's little empire. Word got around. His LinkedIn went offline. His card disappeared from Mary's texts. Her phone stayed silent for days after that. Phase 4, the confrontation. 2 weeks after the oncology appointment, I told Mary we needed to talk. She looked like she'd aged 5 years, dark circles, shallow breathing, no more makeup. Just the real her. Finally, I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I handed her a single manila envelope. Inside was the divorce filing, filed under irreconcilable differences with breach of marital fidelity. I told her I was taking full custody. I told her the prenup was being enforced. I told her she had until the end of the week to vacate the house. She asked, barely above a whisper, is there really no way back? I looked her dead in the eyes and said, you walked away from this family the moment you chose him over Lucas. I'm just holding the door open. She didn't argue. She just nodded. Tears started, but I didn't wait to watch. I walked out, straight into the cold evening air, feeling cleaner than I had in years. Because now, it was done. Not just the lies. Not just the marriage. The war. And I'd won it without ever raising my voice. Part 5. The day Mary left, it rained. Not a dramatic, thunder and lightning kind of storm. Just a cold, miserable drizzle that soaked the driveway as she dragged 2 suitcases to her car. No grand speech. No last-minute confession. Just the sound of wheels on wet concrete and the quiet click of a trunk closing. She didn't look back. Good. I wouldn't have waved anyway. Lucas was asleep inside. I made sure he didn't have to see it. He'd been through enough. Chemo had taken his hair and half his energy, but it hadn't touched his spirit. The kid smiled more than I did, even after puking his guts out. Stronger than both his parents combined. I stood on the porch with my arms crossed as she pulled out of the driveway for the last time. Just like that, the woman I once called my wife became a ghost. Good riddance. It wasn't peace I felt. Not right away. It was war fatigue. I just walked out of a battlefield covered in blood. Hers, mine, ours. The marriage was dead, buried under a pile of evidence and betrayal. And I didn't shed a single tear at the funeral. But consequences don't stop when someone leaves. They linger. The divorce finalized faster than either of us expected. That fidelity clause? Ironclad. She tried to argue emotional duress, mental health, even temporary lapse in judgment. The judge wasn't having it. I walked out with the house, full custody of Lucas, both vehicles, and a court order preventing her from bringing any male partner around our son without written approval. She could have weekends supervised, and only once a month. That's what she earned. She cried in court. I didn't blink. Her parents, to their credit, didn't make excuses. They stopped by once to say goodbye to Lucas and never asked to see Mary again. Her father pulled me aside and said, you were a better husband than she ever deserved. You're a damn good father, too. Don't let this break you. It didn't. It made me. Life after betrayal is weird. Like walking barefoot on broken glass. You feel everything too sharply at first. Every laugh feels forced. Every moment of silence feels like a scream. But over time, your feet toughen. The pain fades. The glass turns to gravel. Then gravel to dirt. I focused on Lucas. He needed me. And I needed something to believe in again. His treatment kept us busy. Rounds of chemo, follow-ups, nights in sterile hospital rooms where time slowed to a crawl. But I never missed a second. I was there for every needle, every question, every damn moment he needed his dad. And somewhere in between fighting for his life and picking up the pieces of mine, we started smiling again. He beat the cancer. That's right. He won. And in beating it, he reminded me that there's always something left to fight for, even when everything else burns to the ground. I sold the car Mary used. Bought a truck. Something loud, unapologetic. Took Lucas on a road trip. Just the two of us. National parks. Late-night diners. Campgrounds and cheap motels. We saw bears. We climbed rocks. We laughed until our ribs hurt. I told him one night, sitting around a fire, son, people are going to hurt you in this life. That's a fact. But what matters is what you do after the pain. He nodded like he understood. And I think he did. When we got back, I built a new routine. I started hitting the gym again. Reconnected with old friends I hadn't seen since college. Took up boxing not for violence, but for control. There's something beautiful about knowing you can take a hit and stay standing. And women? Yeah, they started noticing. But I wasn't looking to be anyone's healing project. I wasn't rushing into soft eyes and empty promises. I was rebuilding. And when I was ready, I'd choose on my terms. One afternoon, a friend introduced me to a woman named Danielle. Single mom. No drama. Sharp tongue, soft heart. She didn't flinch when I told her everything. Said, sounds like you've been through hell. But you didn't stay there. That's what matters. She didn't try to fix me. She didn't ask for more than I could give. And that's how I knew it was real. We're not rushing it. No rings, no grand declarations. Just two grown people, choosing each other daily. No secrets. No lies. I look at my life now simpler, sharper, stripped of all the dead weight, and I realize something. Mary didn't break me. She freed me. Freed me from illusions. Freed me from carrying a marriage by myself. Freed me from believing loyalty guarantees love. I learned that some people will smile at you while holding a knife behind their back. I learned that love without respect is just performance. And I learned that even when your heart is shattered, you can still pick up the pieces and build a better one. Stronger. Wiser. Harder to fool. Lucas is thriving. I'm thriving. And Mary? She texts once in a while. Pictures of her new apartment. Messages about missing how things used to be. I don't answer. She had everything, and she pissed it away on a man who wouldn't even return her calls once the fallout hit. She didn't just lose a husband. She lost a legacy. Me? I'm living proof that when someone tries to bury you, you grow roots. And now? Now I bloom. The end.